What if the biggest betrayal in a relationship doesn't begin with a kiss, but with silence? What if the warning signs aren't dramatic arguments, mysterious phone calls, or obvious lies, but small changes that most people dismiss until it's too late? The truth is, relationships rarely fall apart overnight. They erode one unnoticed moment at a time. The people who see those moments aren't mind readers. They're paying attention to patterns. Today, we're going to explore 7 psychological shifts that often appear when someone is emotionally checking out of a relationship. These aren't proof that a partner is being unfaithful, and no single sign tells the whole story. But understanding these patterns can help you recognize when trust, connection, and emotional intimacy are beginning to fade, before the damage becomes irreversible. Have you ever looked back at the end of a relationship and wondered, how did we get here? Most people think betrayal begins with a single decision, a single moment, or a single mistake. But in reality, relationships usually change long before they end. Emotional distance often grows quietly. Communication slowly fades. Small habits replace meaningful conversations. What feels like everything changed overnight is often the result of weeks or months of subtle shifts that were ignored. The hardest part is that people usually search for dramatic warning signs. They expect obvious lies, constant arguments, or undeniable proof that something is wrong. But human psychology rarely works that way. Most emotional disconnection begins with small behavioral changes. These changes do not automatically mean someone is being unfaithful, but they can indicate that the relationship itself is struggling. One of the first signs is emotional withdrawal. Someone who once wanted to share every detail of their day suddenly becomes distant. Conversations become shorter. They answer questions, but they no longer invite deeper discussion. It's not necessarily because they are hiding something. Sometimes people withdraw because they feel misunderstood, emotionally exhausted, or disconnected. Whatever the reason, emotional distance is never something to ignore. Healthy relationships are built on emotional openness, and when that openness disappears, the relationship needs attention. Another important change is a sudden lack of curiosity about the relationship. In strong partnerships, both people naturally ask about each other's feelings, goals, and daily experiences. They remain interested in one another. When that curiosity fades completely, it may suggest that emotional investment is declining. A relationship cannot grow if only one person continues making the effort. Communication also changes in noticeable ways. Healthy couples don't have perfect conversations, but they usually try to resolve misunderstandings. When someone consistently avoids meaningful conversations or dismisses every attempt to discuss problems, resentment can quietly build. Avoiding conflict might seem peaceful at first, but unresolved emotions rarely disappear. They simply become heavier over time. Another pattern many people overlook is the disappearance of appreciation. At the beginning of most relationships, people naturally express gratitude. They notice the little things. They say thank you. They compliment each other. Over time, routine can replace appreciation. While this happens in many long-term relationships, making an effort to recognize your partner still matters. Feeling valued is one of the strongest emotional needs people have. Changes in daily routines can also affect a relationship. New hobbies, new friendships, or different priorities are completely normal. Personal growth is healthy. But when someone becomes completely unavailable without explanation and shows little interest in maintaining connection, it can create insecurity. Trust grows through consistency. When consistency disappears, uncertainty often replaces it. Body language sometimes reveals emotional changes before words do. Eye contact becomes less frequent, physical affection decreases, shared moments become rare. This doesn't always indicate betrayal. Stress, work pressure, health concerns, or personal struggles can all influence affection. That's why it's important not to jump to conclusions. Instead, use these moments as opportunities for honest conversations rather than accusations. Perhaps the biggest mistake people make is assuming love survives without effort. Every relationship requires attention. Respect, honesty, patience, and communication are habits, not accidents. When either partner stops investing emotionally, the relationship becomes vulnerable. The goal should never be to search for evidence against each other. The goal should be to strengthen the connection before small problems become major ones. Real emotional intelligence means noticing patterns without rushing to judgment. It means asking questions before making accusations. It means listening with empathy instead of reacting with fear. Trust is not protected by suspicion. It is protected by openness, consistency, and mutual respect. Strong relationships are not built because two people never change. They are built because both people continue choosing each other even as life changes around them. They communicate when conversations are uncomfortable. They apologize when they make mistakes. They remain curious about each other's thoughts and emotions. They understand that love is not just a feeling, it is a daily commitment. If your relationship feels different today than it did a year ago, don't assume the worst. Instead, ask yourself whether both of you still feel heard, appreciated, respected, and emotionally safe. Those questions are far more valuable than searching for hidden clues. In the end, the healthiest relationships are not the ones without challenges. They are the ones where both partners face those challenges together instead of growing apart in silence. As time passes, every relationship reaches a point where comfort either deepens the connection or slowly replaces the effort that once kept it alive. The difference between couples who grow stronger and those who quietly drift apart is rarely luck. It is awareness. It is the willingness to notice small emotional changes before they become permanent habits. People often believe that love alone is enough, but psychology teaches us something different. Love may bring two people together, yet it is consistency, honesty, and emotional presence that keep them together. When someone feels unheard for weeks, unappreciated for months, or emotionally alone despite being in a relationship, distance begins to grow in ways that cannot always be seen from the outside. That is why paying attention to emotional patterns matters far more than searching for dramatic moments. A healthy relationship is not maintained by constantly questioning each other's loyalty. It is maintained by creating an environment where honesty feels safe, respect is mutual, and both people continue choosing each other every single day, even after the excitement of the beginning has faded. The strongest couples are not those who never experience difficult seasons. They are the ones who recognize those seasons early, confront them with maturity, and refuse to let silence become the language of their relationship. What often surprises people is that human behavior is rarely random. Every action, every habit, and every emotional response is influenced by something happening beneath the surface. When people feel deeply connected, they naturally look for ways to include their partner in their world. They share stories that don't seem important. They seek reassurance during stressful moments, and they celebrate even the smallest victories together. But when emotional distance begins to grow, those same instincts can gradually disappear. Conversations become practical instead of personal. Time together starts feeling like an obligation instead of a choice. The little gestures that once communicated affection begin to fade so slowly that neither person notices them until they are almost completely gone. This is why emotional awareness is one of the most valuable qualities anyone can develop. Instead of reacting to fear or making assumptions, emotionally intelligent people pay attention to consistent patterns over time. They understand that lasting relationships are strengthened not by perfection, but by curiosity, empathy, and the willingness to ask difficult questions before misunderstandings become permanent barriers between two people. One of the most overlooked truths about relationships is that people don't always express their emotions with words. Sometimes they communicate through what they stop doing rather than what they start doing. A person who once made time without being asked may suddenly become difficult to reach. Someone who used to remember the little details may no longer seem mentally present. None of these changes on their own prove that a partner has lost commitment or become involved with someone else. Life brings stress, pressure, and personal struggles that can affect behavior in many different ways. That is why mature relationships are built on observation rather than assumption. Instead of jumping to conclusions, emotionally secure people look for consistency. They ask whether these changes are temporary reactions to difficult circumstances, or whether they reflect a deeper emotional shift that has been developing over time. The ability to recognize that difference is what separates emotional wisdom from emotional impulse, because healthy relationships are protected by honest conversations, patient understanding, and a genuine desire to understand what is happening beneath the surface before allowing fear to write the story. Another important aspect of understanding relationships is recognizing the difference between a temporary emotional phase and a repeated pattern. Every person experiences moments when they become quieter, more distracted, or less expressive because of responsibilities, stress, or personal challenges. The real concern begins when emotional distance becomes the new normal and there is no willingness to reconnect. Relationships need attention in the same way anything valuable in life needs care. When two people stop asking questions, stop sharing their thoughts, and stop making an effort to understand each other, the emotional foundation slowly becomes weaker. Many problems do not begin because people stop caring completely. They begin because people stop communicating what they need, what they feel, and what they are experiencing internally. This is why emotional maturity requires looking beyond surface-level behavior and understanding the deeper reasons behind changes. Instead of focusing only on what someone is doing differently, it is important to understand what might be happening emotionally, because every relationship has a story behind every action, every silence, and every change in connection. So before you leave today, remember this. The greatest mistake isn't missing a warning sign. It's ignoring a relationship that has been asking for your attention for far too long. Trust isn't destroyed in a single moment. It weakens through silence, distance, and the conversations that never happen. Real strength is not becoming suspicious of every change. Real strength is having the courage to communicate honestly, to listen without ego, and to protect the connection before it breaks. If this message made you think differently about relationships, don't just watch and move on. Take a moment to reflect on the people who matter most in your life. Sometimes one honest conversation can save what months of silence almost destroyed. If you found value in today's message, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss future psychology and relationship insights. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today, because understanding people isn't about becoming more suspicious, it's about becoming wiser, more emotionally aware, and building stronger, healthier relationships. Thank you for watching, and remember, the strongest relationships are not built on fear or control. They are built on trust, respect, honesty, and the daily choice to understand each other before it's too late.